is a country in Southeast Asia, about twice the size of Scotland, and the capital today is Phnom Penh. It was once the center of the ancient kingdom of Khmer, and was famous for its 12th century temples. In 1953, Cambodia gained independence after nearly 100 years of French rule. In the 1960s, the population was over 7 million, almost all Buddhist, under the rule of a monarch, Prince Sihanouk. Prince Sihanouk ruled until 1970 when he was deposed in a military coup by Lon Nol, who was made president of the Khmer Republic. When this happened, Prince Sihanouk and those loyal to him joined a communist guerrilla organization known as the Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge was led by Pol Pot, a man educated in France and an admirer of Chinese communism. By 1975, Pol Pot's forces had grown to over 700,000 men. Later that year, the Khmer Republic was defeated by the Khmer Rouge. It is estimated that 150,000 died in the civil war between the Rouge and the Republic, half of which were civilians. Within days of overthrowing the Khmer Republic, Pol Pot begins purifying Cambodia. In this purification, Pol Pot believed that a perfect Cambodia, or Kampuchea at the time, would have the population work as laborers on a federation of collective fields. This theory very much resembled Chinese communism in the fact that anybody in opposition, usually the educated and intellectuals, would be eliminated. The ill, disabled, old and very young were driven out, and those who refused to leave were killed. People who escaped murder became unpaid laborers. Eventually many became too weak or ill, and the only treatment they received was death. The Khmer Rouge targeted minority groups. Those targeted included ethnic Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, and also Cambodians with mixed ancestry. Half of the Cham Muslim population was murdered, in addition to 8,000 Christians in Cambodia. Many civilians died during the Civil War genocide, from executions, disease, exhaustion, and starvation. Many have estimated the count well over 2 million. Mao Hiet was a victim of the genocide. During the genocide, his 2 older sisters were killed. His younger brother was shot in the head by a stray bullet as he and his family fled for their lives. Years later, Mao typed his experiences up and posted it on the internet. His words exactly. I don't remember much of what happened, but there are bits and pieces. I remember my father coming home one evening and telling us that we needed to leave our home and flee toward Thailand. Then I had 4 brothers, a baby brother, and 2 eldest sisters. We packed up as quickly as we could and headed toward Thai border. After running with my father for hours, we heard gunfire. It was the Khmer Rouge. They were shooting as us and the other families that was fleeing. We all panicked and my mom, grabbed me and the baby and started running. After a while, we had lost my father, brothers, and sisters. I remembered being really scared. I was probably 6 years old. Suddenly my mom was shaking my baby brother and she put him down on the grass and went to hide in the bushes because there was still gunfire. What I didn't know was my little brother was shot in the head when we were running. I don't remember how long we were hiding, but we walked for a very long time. Then we came to a Thai military camp with 5 soldiers. I remember one of the soldiers gave me some food. There must have been other families, but I don't remember. After a while, we were on our way to another camp. When there, we finally found my family, but some were missing. My 2 elder sisters. I think we spent time in Thai refuge camp for 2 or 3 years. I remember hearing bombs go off now and then, attending the school, playing soccer, and flying kites. I think then we were taken into the cities of Thailand. We spent time in this sticky camp there, and I think we were sponsored by American from US. I remember my mom telling me that in the plane I got sick and threw up. We arrived in the US 1976 and was brought to Bellingham, Washington, where my sponsor lived. my sponsors was members of the church. The reign of the Khmer Rouge came to an end in 1978 when Vietnam invaded Cambodia and overthrew the Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge continued to fight the new Vietnamese-backed government. Throughout the 1980s, the Khmer Rouge forces were covertly backed by American and United Kingdom forces due to the united hostility against Communist Vietnam. In the conflict from 1978 to 1989, up to 65,000 had been killed, 14,000 of whom were civilians. Cambodia began to return to normal in the 1990s. The state religion Buddhism was revived, and the former monarch, Prince Sihanouk, was elected to lead the new government. However, the Khmer Rouge guerrillas opposed the new political reforms, but their organization had begun to crumble. Many defected to the new government. In 1997, Pol Pot accused one of his aides of treachery. Leading Khmers arrested him, and Pol Pot was released due to a corrupt trial and eventually died of natural causes in 1998 at the age of 78. The full story of the Cambodian genocide is still being compiled, as many of the participants in the killings are being brought to courts and are being sentenced to death for their war crimes. From 1995, mass graves have begun to be uncovered, revealing the extent of the killings. Simple names for these fields are called the killing fields, as many memorials are erected in their memory. Cambodia is slowly returning into a peaceful country as slow reconstruction of property and population are beginning to set in.